ready, Staten Island. It's time to celebrate 5 years of Ferry Hawks baseball. Come out to the ballpark this week as the Ferry Hawks welcome in the Charleston Dirty Birds May 5th through the 10th. Grab the kids and come on out. We kick it off on Tuesday, May 5th with Cinco de Baseball with $5 tickets and $5 food and beverage specials. And we end the week as we celebrate all moms on Mother's Day. Moms get in free. Visit ferryhawks.com now to lock in your seats.
Excuse me! Taxi! Come on, what are you doing? This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Joining us now on Katz and Cosby, obviously big news with Spirit Airlines ceasing to operate. So what's the real story behind it? Well, who better than our next guest, former governor of New Hampshire, Chris Sununu. He is now CEO and president of Airlines for America. And, Governor, we're so happy to have you here on the show. Of course, Rita Cosby, John Katzimatidis, Judge Richard Weinberg, and we also have Norman Seabrook with us. And, Governor, you and I were talking over the weekend, and there's a lot here. I mean, the Biden administration had a chance to approve a merger with Spirit and JetBlue. They didn't do it. Let's talk about sort of the history of what really happened to Spirit Airlines.
Yeah, look, I mean, going back a couple of years, Spirit said we're in financial trouble. A merger makes sense. JetBlue came in and offered, billions of dollars into that merger, which, if rightly so, it should have been allowed. We wouldn't be here today. There's no question about it. But at the time, Secretary Buttigieg took pride. If you see that interview with him, he took pride in the fact where he said, "Look, DOT typically doesn't get involved in this, but we did get involved. Now, we stepped out of our lane to throw politics and kill this deal and work with Biden's Department of Justice and kill it." So it was really unfortunate. And then that was really the death spiral. Ever since then, Spirit has basically had to just keep selling off assets to stay alive. They've gone through a couple bankruptcies. And unfortunately, the financials were just in a situation where they were holding so much debt. They had very few assets. They don't even own their own planes. I know the president stepped up. President Trump said, "Hey, we feel bad for these employees. We feel bad for the customers. Let's see what we can possibly do to help." But the financial situation was just so dire. There was really no path there. So he tried. But look, they're liquidating now. That's where they are. They're going to have to go through a liquidation process over the next couple of weeks. In the meantime, though, we've worked as Airlines for America, worked very closely with the White House and said, yes, so these employees need to have a place to land. The customers need to be able to transition. They're waiting for flights that aren't going to come. So all the other airlines, to their credit, have really stepped up. About 100,000 of Spirit's customers who are, quote, left stranded have already been moved over for kind of a discounted rate onto the other airlines. Thousands of the employees of Spirit have already found jobs with the other airlines in just the past 48 hours. So everyone understands how bad the situation was. Probably didn't have to get here if not for the previous administration, but everyone's kind of stepping up and making sure that this tough situation is as smooth as possible given the circumstance.
Mr. Sununu, I've been in the aviation business for 50 years, and I hate to say it, I've seen them come and go, but it's very, very sad. Why didn't the CEO raise prices to make up for the difference in fuel?
So a couple things. The Spirit was in dire financial straits well before the fuel issues of just the past couple months. So even I think the quarter before the issues in Iran, they were 10 points below every other airline. They just, for a whole variety of reasons, and they're a discount airline, right? Their model is based on low fares, but that has to come with low cost, and they didn't manage their. I mean, I don't want to get overly critical, given that,
Well, it's okay. Great, you don't get it. It's my turn to do it. Because, the old joke in the aviation business is, you know how to make $100 million in the aviation business? You start with $1 billion.
That's it. And they did not control their costs very well towards the end. So, yes, there's no doubt that higher fuel costs compounded the problem. But believe me, if Iran hadn't happened, we would still be in the same place with Spirit Airlines today. There's just no question about that. They just couldn't survive now, given what had happened over the past few years.
The other problem is, and you know the aviation business, you're in the business. Why are the amount of aviation accidents in the last few years? Is it because the Biden administration pushed to have more, what do you call it, DEI employees?
Well, I'll say this. Look,
I'm not looking to get you in trouble.
No. Well, let's start with where it needs to be. America's skies are very safe, right? It's still an incredibly, incredibly safe way to travel, right? I would say that some of the accidents are there've been human error, right? There's been a lot of human error in there. But let's also realize that we have this antiquated air traffic control system that is running on like literally COBOL, like programming from the early 90s. That is all changing, right? So Secretary Duffy, Brian Bedford at the FAA, they're investing billions and billions and billions of dollars and saying enough is enough. We are modernizing our entire, not just Newark, not just Miami, not just San Francisco, the entire air traffic control system is going to get upgraded to be state-of-the-art, unlike anywhere else in the world. So in spite of this antiquated system, we've still had a very safe space. And yes, to your point, there have been a couple accidents and tragedies. A lot of them are human error. That's unfortunate. To have a more robust system where it's more efficient, it's safer, it's tighter, there's less delays, there's more expectancy in the system. That's all going to come to fruition because, frankly, President Trump said, hey, we're not going to ignore this like everyone's ignored it for the past 30, 40 years. We're not doing that anymore.
I know, thank goodness.
Money in it and rebuild it. Right?
Thank goodness.
And it's great. And they're doing a great job. It's not bureaucrats rebuilding the system. It's folks from the private sector. It's folks like Brian Bedford and Duffy who understand we're not letting bureaucrat and government slow us down. We're actually going to have a giant infrastructure project that stays on time, on budget, and delivers a better product for America.
Well,
so just in that fact is unique in itself, right?
I'm just putting in my 2 more cents. I mean, I was talking with the Judge Weinberg before, who was in our studio, and we said, we don't mind DEI, but I certainly don't want my brain surgeon to be DEI, and I don't want my captain of the airplane I'm flying in to be DEI.
Yeah, so again, there was I got here about 6-7 months ago. There was definitely a push in the industry. There's a lot of DEI talk in the industry, as there was across America. So I'm not defending anything. I'm not criticizing anything. But definitely when it comes to issues of safety, it's only on merit. We only want the best and the brightest and the most trained, meeting all the qualifications, meeting every safety standard and not bending on standards. Especially in any job where, other lives could be at stake.
Absolutely. And everybody, we're talking to former Governor Chris Sununu. I was about to say, John, I know your dad too. It's so funny. It's so funny through the years, Chris.
Maybe a future senator from New Hampshire.
Yeah, exactly.
Only if we're lucky.
I know, only if we're lucky. And of course, you're now the CEO, president of Airlines for America. Judge Weinberg.
So, Governor, good to talk to you again.
You don't want your brain surgeon.
So I want to pick my own brain surgeon on the merits. Speaking of brains and no merits, what you had here is what you had when they had a merger application between JetBlue and Spirit. You had this anti-merger mentality from the antitrust authorities that somehow having a merger is anti-competitive, is a bad thing, bad for consumers. So what happened? You now eliminated competitors from the market. You jeopardize not only Spirit, but you raise an issue with respect to JetBlue. They totally have it backwards, and yet they have this ideology that mergers are bad. What are your thoughts?
Because they have an ideology that government is good. That's the problem right there. They have an ideology that government knows better than the market. And when the market says, look at my balance sheet, look at my income statement, we cannot survive. We have a great opportunity with a merger. And you have all this other competition. You have all these other low cost and opportunities for the consumer. Look, if airplane prices were skyrocketing in America, maybe there'd be an argument, but they're not. Airline, before the Iran conflict started, airline prices, the average domestic ticket in America hadn't moved since 2019. It's like the only product in America where the average price had not actually moved. It had bucked all the inflation trends. Now, what they're doing is they're saying, look, if you want to fly basic economy, you can get that low price fare. If you want to fly first class, great, we'll charge you for it. If you want to, have extra bags, great, we're going to charge you for it. But the customer has choice now in how they want to fly, and they get the cost benefits of that choice as well. But the government said, no, we know better. You're just a bunch of big airlines. You're polluters. For environmental reasons, we want to take airplanes out of the sky. And they just thought they knew better. And this is what happens. The American consumer, the American public suffers. So Hopefully it's a lesson learned, right? Hopefully, I don't care what party you're from, but there's obviously, a big government party and a small government party, but hopefully at least the big government guys are listening, saying, yeah, maybe we shouldn't get as involved. Maybe we shouldn't be so big-headed as to tell business what's best for them, because the proof is in the pudding. Unfortunately, this is a great case and a tragic case.
That assumes that Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts, who pushed this block of the merger, wakes up and understands reality as opposed to ideology.
And Chris, let me just say this, Chris.
God.
Spirit Airline was originally designed so that individuals with not that much money could fly reasonably, get to where they had to go. And POTUS stepped in and he did something with tips, he did something with overtime, and he's looking at something right now to help the American people. So we just gotta, buckle our seatbelts and just go for this ride.
Well, it's a matter of what are the struggles facing working class Americans right now, and the answer is that we'll just pound more government. Government will solve the problem. That doesn't work, right? So again, the president, the fiscal conservatives out there are saying, no, let the free market work. Let competition in the free market, regardless of the product or whether it's airlines or shampoo, it doesn't matter. Free markets work, and when they're allowed to thrive and you get government out of the way, the consumer, the working class Americans can actually afford and buck, the cost increases they saw through kind of that 2021 to 2025 period, 2024 period. We saw all this inflation, and that hurt middle class America, right? Wealthy parts of America were like, oh, inflation stinks, but it's not a big deal. I remember hearing that in the 24 election. Oh, inflation's not that big of a deal. It's like, are you crazy? Are you so blind? Are you so in a bubble that you can't walk down the street and realize that the average Americans are having trouble saving, they're having trouble affording basic things, and that includes airline tickets, and that includes traveling to visit your family or whatever it might be. But these points programs that have come out that allow travelers to effectively fly for free, right? You can buy your groceries on a credit card, on an airline credit card, and you get to fly for free.
Chris Sununu, if I sold my groceries like who was it that did that 100 years ago? Oh my God, for 50% off. How long do you stay in business?
Yeah. Look, you want to do 50% off? I think that's great, but as long as it's not the government forcing you to do it. Now you get to Atlas Shrugged type.
We got to take a break.
Yeah, thank you.
Chris
Thank you, Governor.
We're looking forward to having you on again real soon. Thank you so much for coming on.
Listen to this podcast now
On the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Leadership Thread with Dr. Peggy Polonis.
I'm Dr. Peggy Polonis. Join me on each episode where I unravel the story that shaped leaders, tracing the thread that led them where they are today. Because leadership isn't born in adulthood. And thank you once again for joining us on the Leadership Thread, education, ethics, and sustainability.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.